If you would all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Can you hear me? Doesn't sound like it's on. And we will have the young distinguished women lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
One thing before we do the roll call, we do have a signer here this evening for the benefit of the young distinguished women, and he will stay until after the presentations. Thank you.
Mayor Rowe.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Miller.
Present.
Councilman Racy.
Here.
Councilman Porter.
Here.
Councilman Sanders.
Present.
Councilman Gabriel.
Present.
Councilman Webster.
Here.
Right. You do have a quorum with all 7 members present, Mayor.
Thank you.
The first item is a moment of silence for Lloyd Allen, who had served as the Nankin Transit Commissioner and a longtime resident of the city.
Thank you. Also, just before we came in tonight, we received word that Barbara Bush passed away. So if you would all just keep her and her family in your prayers, would be appreciated. Thank you.
All right. The first item is item 1, approval of the agenda.
Move to approve.
Support.
Gentlemen, if we could please move, if there's no objections, item 8C. Resolution for Nankin Transit. The director is here this evening, and he would just like, I feel it'd be better if we just moved him up to the head of the agenda.
Even before the distinguished young woman?
No, after them. I'm sorry, after them. After the presentations.
No objections.
Support agree?
Yes.
Okay, it's been moved by Mayor Pro Tem, supported by Councilman Webster. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
The first item is item 2, City Council minutes. Item 2A are the regular meeting minutes of April 2nd.
Move approval.
Support.
It's been moved by Councilman Sanders, supported by Councilman Gabriel. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
The next item is item 3, presentations. Item 3A is presentation of certificates to the 2019 Distinguished Young Women. And tonight, Jody Berry and Lauren Reed are the co-directors of this year's program, and they wanted to talk about the program, and then we'll introduce the ladies as they come up after that, okay? Mm-hmm. So, thank you.
Well, thank you so much for having us. It is truly an honor of ours, both of ours, and also all of these beautiful young women in the committee that supports these young women to be here tonight and be able to celebrate and recognize their accomplishments. The Distinguished Young Women Program, for those who are unaware, was formerly America's Junior Miss Program, and it is in support of scholastics and further development of young women, high school juniors, and helping them to be able to promote them and to help them move on to the next level of their lives, which of course the next step is college. So we're very, very excited for them. We actually are the oldest local chapter in Michigan. We've been around for 51 years. So very, very exciting. This year we gave out almost $9,000 to these young women, which every little bit helps, and we can't thank you as a city enough for being able to support us and in turn support them. So thank you very much.
Thank you for having us also, and it's truly an honor and a pleasure to feel the support from the Wayne community and its citizens. These young ladies are bright, intelligent, talented, and we're just honored that you will take the time to recognize them. So, and also for supporting the program. We do raise our funds from donations and so forth, so we appreciate any support. And one last thing, if there are any community events and community service events that the city would like, or any of the businesses in the city, our girls love to volunteer. So reach out to us, and you can reach us on our website, which is distinguishedYW.org. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I'll have the mayor come up, and if you ladies would like to come up and hear the certificates, and I'll read the each of the ladies' accomplishments and have them come forward, and then we'll take a group picture at the end. Okay. So the first is Alana Rudd. She's the winner of the 2019 Wayne Westland Distinguished Young Women Scholarship Program, additional winner of the Scholastics, Interview, Talent, Self-Expression, and Fitness category, and was a recipient of the Be Your Best Self Essay Award. The next young lady is Fatima Herrera. She's the winner of the 2019 Distinguished Young Woman of Wayne Scholarship Program, additional winner of Scholastics and Interview categories, and a recipient of the Be Your Best Self Essay Award. Leah Kennedy as the winner of the 2019 Distinguished Young Woman of Westland Scholarship Program, additional winner of the Self-Expression and Talent categories, and a recipient of Be Your Best Self Essay Award. Kiera Stewart is a participant in the 2019 Wayne Westland Distinguished Young Woman Scholarship Program and a recipient of the Be Your Best Self Essay Award. So. Michelle Farrell, a participant in the 2019 Wayne Westland Distinguished Young Woman Scholarship Program and winner of the Talent and Spirit categories and recipient of the Be Your Best Self Essay Award. Astu Dia is a participant in the 2019 Wayne Westland Distinguished Young Woman Scholarship Program and a recipient of the Be Your Best Self Essay Award. Cheyenne Heron is a participant in the 2019 Wayne Westland Distinguished Young Woman Scholarship Program and the winner of the Talent and Fitness categories and a recipient of the Be Your Best Self Essay Award. Kayla Miles, participant in the 2019 Wayne Westland Distinguished Young Woman Scholarship Program and winner of the Scholastics categories and recipient of the Be Your Best Self Essay Award. Shamia Carter, participant in the 2019 Wayne Westland Distinguished Young Woman Scholarship Program and winner of the Interview category and recipient of the Be Your Best Self Essay Award. I don't have one for Umi. Well, okay. Omui Wumi Ayunga Bi. So that's all the certificates I have. Okay, okay. So we do have more. Okay. So there you go. Can I have your list then? Right. And then we have some others.
Yes.
Okay.
I think there was an email problem.
Okay.
My apologies. It's
all right.
my inability for technology, I guess.
All right.
Yes. Jade Elder.
All right.
Jade was a participant in the Distinguished Young Woman of Wayne Westland Program, and she also was a scholarship
Okay.
category winner.
Certificates to you.
Yes.
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 My
All right.
apologies.
And
Naya.
Naya, thank you.
Naya Phillips. I'm so sorry. Naya was a participant in the Wayne Westland Distinguished Young Women Program, and she was an interview and self-expression winner, category winner also. And as Jade was also a self-expression herself.
Okay.
I don't believe so. Is anyone else here from our program that I can't see you? Okay. I do want to bring up Pat Hermatz. Come on up, Pat.
She's the den mother of this group.
Yes, she is. Pat, for those that don't know Pat, she's a long-time loves this program and she recruits all of us. Yes, and we love her. Yes.
Okay, so I would like to get a group photograph. So taller girls in the back. We need 2 rows.
Yeah.
So and then kind of the shorter girls up front.
I think I'll be good.
Okay. All right. And then I want. Make sure everyone could.
Get him in there.
All right. So we want to see everybody's face from the picture. So we might have Mayor Rowe.
There you go, Matt. You got it.
Are we good?
You got it.
Okay. Make sure though that we can see you with the picture with this here too. Okay. All right.
Yep, there we go. All right, everybody. Ready? 2, and 1 more. Excellent. Congratulations.
And then, thank you. I think some family members may want to take some pictures too. Do you want to come up? You want to take some pictures right from here. If you stand there, that's a good spot, okay?
I like how you
Thank you.
Your daughter's sleeping.
We good?
They're fast. Yeah.
Okay,
Those
all right.
technology kids are fast.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Lisa.
All right.
I know. I was working. Is he trying to recruit you?
I'm fixing this. I'm getting him on the way over there. So, we're good.
Forget Rosie. Look for Vic.
There we go.
Get it all straightened out.
I think so again. Okay. So we're going to, right, thanks. We're going to move the agenda to item 8C, and I'll pull that forward. And the distinguished young ladies are going to on to other things.
Okay.
So item 8C is to approve a resolution for Nankin Transit to extend service to Canton Township.
Move to approve.
Support.
It's been moved by Mayor Pro Tem, supported by Councilman Sanders. Are there any discussions or questions? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Executive Director, Jeff? Okay.
Jim is here.
Jim?
Yeah. Hi, do you want to just address the council for a moment? Or? Sure.
Mayor Rowe, distinguished members of the council, I appreciate the approval of this. We've worked with our commission diligently with this, and we're still in the very infancy stage of this with Canton, but the first steps require approval of the 4 bodies that make up Nankin Transit. So the resolution that you saw there, we're doing our best, and I think we've made great strides to make sure that this doesn't cost anything more to the cities that are already in Nankin Transit. But there are numbers in there that show, to give you an example why those numbers are there, say the Federal Transportation Administration passes some unfunded mandate that we have to comply with, so it's the law, and say it costs $100,000. Well, we have to have a mechanism to pay for that. And so that's why you'll see the percentages in there. The percentages are 60% to Canton, 20% to Westland, 5% to City of Wayne, and then I think it's 7 and 7 to Garden City and Inkster. So that would be something above and beyond what we're doing now. What this is, when we went with talks with Canton, we said, look, this can't cost anything to the 4 cities, and they agreed. And because there's some capital items that, and you can see in the resolution there's about $45,000 one-time capital outlay for Canton, plus the recurring costs, the year-to-year, year-over-year costs. So I think it's a good deal. for us. It doesn't cost us anything for the 4 cities that have stayed with Nankin Transit. But what it does for our citizens, it opens up all of Canton Township, their amenities to our citizens that we had to stop before because of our service agreements with SMART. So we couldn't go there. So that's why I think it's important for just to give more mobility to our seniors and our disabled. And I appreciate the council giving its due diligence to this. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions? No? Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I have been asked if council has no objections. The Palladino Realty Group is here, and they are wondering if possibly they could be moved up.
I have no objections.
Any objections?
I support that.
Okay. It's been moved by Mayor Pro Tem Miller, supported by Councilman Sanders, to move item 8B to the next item on the agenda.
Were the motion make?
Yes, we did.
We could just continue on, I suppose, but the motion makers again, please.
For
To move 8D.
Mayor Pro Tem and support by Councilman Sanders. Yeah, we voted, yeah.
We're going to move 8D. All right.
8B.
Oh, 8B.
B as in boy.
So there's a motion and a second.
Yes, to move it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Lori, do you want to do anything right now with this?
Mr. Palladino in the room. Can you get him, please? Actually, I'm excited to stand before you this evening. Mark Palladino, the owner of Lower Huron and Palladino Realty, is going to come and speak to you and talk to you about a project. You'll remember he was before you several months ago to purchase the Activity and Banquet Center. He is back this evening with the new proposal, a new purchase price, and a new plan. He has listened to what the council had to say. So, Mr. Palladino, I'll turn it over to you.
Welcome, Mr. Palladino.
Hey, Susan. Mayor Susan. Mind if I take the coat off?
Oh, not at all. Not at all. You can lay it right there on the chair.
I'll just throw it right here. It's okay. I prepared just a quick little statement. Do you mind if I read it? It'll take
Not at
about
all.
a minute or two. And then we'll go right from there. For people that don't know me, which I don't think many of you do, I graduated from Eastern Michigan University back in the day with a business degree. I worked a couple years for private industry, and then after a couple of years, my wife and I started a company called Lower Huron Chemical in Wayne, Michigan. Romulus, Michigan. The company quickly grew. We moved to another location in New Boston, where we had both New Boston and Romulus, and then it kept growing. So we bought a building in Michigan Avenue, which is now the Michigan Job Works building, and then we kept growing, and we ended up buying a factory, old factory on Treadwell Street, and moved our whole operation into that one location. Currently, right now, we service about 1,600 customers across Lower Michigan and Toledo, which includes schools, factories, city governments, and customers as large as Ford and as small as the local church in the neighborhood here. So that gives you a little bit about our business experience. We've been doing it for over 40 years with different business things. Today, we support 22 families working out of the Wayne building over here. And so, as you know, we have tried to purchase the Sims building. Last year, it was made clear to me that you guys wanted a establishment that benefited the city, more hip, community-oriented operation. And so that kept rolling in my mind over and over again. You know, what can we do for the city? And the council actually brought up a brew pub. I don't drink, so that was not in my plans, to tell you the truth, until a friend of mine, Pete Glabe, called me up and wanted me to put a brew pub in my old building in New Boston. And at that time, he introduced me to Eric, who was going to be the brewer, and I was going to be the investment person. And I thought, this sounds interesting, but New Boston is not the place for a brew pub. I worked there for many years. It's not much of a city. at this point. It's very, very small. So I mentioned, I said, you know, we have the opportunity in Wayne that they're looking for something with a nice location. Why don't we approach the city and see if we can do it in Wayne? So that's where it all started. If this goes through, I will be the person doing the remodeling of the building and the financing of the operation, and Eric will be financing the brewing portion of it and the restroom portion. And as a team, and also my son-in-law Abe has about 10 years of bar experience to bring that to the table. It'll be two families merged together to run this operation. The way I picture it, I'm going to show you a little something, and I'm just going to tell you how I picture this to look. And if you've been around to many brew pubs, they're really gathering places for the community. They're not a place where you go get drunk at. You go in, you socialize, you have a couple of drinks, you have a good time with friends and family, and you leave. But it has to be a comfortable place, kind of like a Starbucks or that type of atmosphere. So what we're proposing, and this will be about a year to develop this. We're going to put in more money than to develop this property than we are purchasing the property. Okay.
Excuse me. Lori, could you come and hold the, okay, yeah. And then show it also to the audience. So, there you go.
Okay. As you see, the front, can I get, this section of the building would be used for the brewery equipment right here. The kitchen would be back in this area and extend out further into the hall area. Seating along here with a bar in the back, possibly. And the fireplace would be a cozy little fireplace room over this corner. Long tables, tall tables, short tables, every combination, so we can get seating for the people to fit their needs. This building has a really cool porch that I don't know if anybody's noticed, but with the right landscaping, this could be turned into about a 5-bench seating area outside of the building itself. So you have outside seating when the weather's nice and the breezes are perfect. Besides that, I don't know if you've noticed again, but the building has beautiful trees. It goes all the way around the front of this building. Those trees could have the little lights put in them for at night atmosphere, with some tables sprinkled in here. And if we wanted to take it one step further, we could have a fireplace pit with some seating around that for the perfect nights to to do that. Maybe some game activities possibly. The way I envision it is have it fenced in with a natural landscaping instead of a metal fence. Maybe have a vineyard type of look to it where you have grapes growing along and you have that the vegetation go there mixed in with bushes and trees, so it's more of a beer garden approach instead of your locked in prison type of approach. And that would all have to pass by the Liquor Commission Board with your approval for outside seating. But of course that would only be the nice days of the year, But that's my presentation. Would you have any question for Eric or Abe or myself?
Madam Mayor, move approval.
Support.
It has been moved by Councilman Sanders, supported by Mayor Pro Tem Miller. Do we have any questions for either Mr. Palladino or Eric?
Madam Mayor, I just have one.
Yes.
You said you're going to be investing more money than what you're paying for it. What do you expect to be investing in the building itself?
For just the building itself? Well, the whole floor has to be ripped out, have all new plumbing put in, and electrical run all through the floor because there's no crawl space or ceiling in that building. So that's the first big investment, is redoing all the utilities. Then once you get that all ripped up, of course you have to put all new tile in. We're going to go with ceramic wood grain tile to cover that. The brewery area will be tiled with a white tile on the walls to make it waterproof and secure that way. There'll be so a lot of infrastructure with those things. We are told today that the building has to have a sprinkler system put in to make it up to code, because apparently the city was not within code when they had on the building, and now that we're going in, we have to bring it up to code. That would be could be up to a $45,000 investment right there. Then the painting, the woodwork, the decorating, of the interior to make it look something that people would want to come into other than a library. I don't know what the cost of that is yet, but we're going to be doing a lot of that ourselves. And I have a lot of experience with woodworking and remodeling.
Mayor Rowe.
Yes.
Mr. Palladino, I just want to tell you, I am generally grateful for you thinking outside the box on this idea and project. I mean, you are going to be the next major anchor in this downtown area. You are helping to fulfill a journey of vision, literally. And I can't say enough. Thank you so much. And I'm telling you, this community looks forward to supporting you and sharing with you in your success.
Well, thank you very much. It'll be a big project.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Palladino, I just wanted to tell you too, thank you for coming back and continuing to pursue the community. I just want everybody in this room to look at this man, because this is the kind of person that's going to change our community. Business owners in our city that care about our community, that reinvest in it, and this is how we fix and change our community. And I just want to applaud you. I've talked to different people. People have had glowing things to say about you, your family, and everything that you've done in our community. So I appreciate everything you've done in our community in the past and look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any questions or any other? Yes.
I just want to say thank you to you also, Mr. Palladino. Thank you for coming back and bringing a new idea to us. I really appreciate your support of the city. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Yes.
Eric Thurman from Winterford. Last council meeting, Councilman Gabriel brought up the 1,000-foot limit with the medical marijuana and said it wouldn't be fair to the other businesses to impose a limit or to reduce the limit. This is less than 1,000 feet from US 12 Bar and Grill. So why are we making an exception here but not for the other businesses?
The city clerk planner can answer that question.
Well, when that was discussed, it was actually regarding liquor licenses that are established, not medical marijuana. In his discussion, that was part of it. But I did, after the meeting, I did clarify to the council, obviously, that the information was not correct. There is not a limitation on Class C bars or liquor licenses that are in our zoning ordinance. The LCC establishes actually a by capita, by population establishment of how many bars we can have, how many liquor stores, how many beer and wine cellars that we can have. And so I did clarify that to the council, that the information that I know is to be correct was shared with them. So the information is clear to the council that that wasn't correct. So
thank you for that.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. All right. It's been moved and supported to approve the agreement to purchase and
we
move.
Get a roll call.
Certainly.
Why?
Okay, this is item 8B as in boy, and it was a motion by Sanders, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Miller, to approve the purchase agreement to Palladino Realty LLC, I think is what it was for. I've seen it numerous times, so I'm surprised I can remember. Anyways, the first to vote is Mayor Pro Tem Miller.
Yes.
Councilman Racy.
Yes.
Councilman Porter.
Yes.
Councilman Sanders.
Yes.
Councilman Gabriel.
Yes.
Councilman Webster.
Yes.
And Mayor Rowe.
Yes.
Right. It was all seven.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Pell. Any idea of when you plan on starting construction?
It'll probably be within the next week.
Right.
Great. Hopefully we can have it open before fall comes and you have to not use the outside.
We'll see how that. It's going to be slower. We're not bringing in the big crew construction. We're doing a lot of ourselves.
Okay.
This work.
All right.
So we're hoping to have it open by winter.
Okay.
Fall.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. We can move the agenda now.
Okay. The next item is public hearings. Item 4A is a public hearing to consider the 2018 special assessment to the tax roll.
Move approval.
Support.
Okay, it's been supported, or moved, I'm sorry, by Councilman Sanders, supported by Councilman Gabriel. Are there any questions, concerns?
Before
Yes.
we go forward, this is a public hearing.
Oh, that's right, I'm sorry.
So before we have any motions, I will open the floor first to anybody that wishes to address the council regarding a special assessment notice, just to maybe educate the council and the public regarding this special assessment. About a month ago, I had made a request to have a hearing this evening regarding special assessments, and a notice was sent to each of the individual taxpayers on the parcels that were listed at your places, that in item 4A, and also a notice was placed in the newspaper of general circulation with the notice to have the bill paid by yesterday at 4:30 p.m. If the bill was not paid, then we would be placing on the tax roll based upon approval of the resolution of City Council. These are bills that, for the most part, when the city has expended an expenditure, I guess, on property for the city, mowing, snow removal, debris, vacant property registration, principal residence exceptions, or the transfer affidavit. There's actually a state law that says if you do not turn in your property transfer affidavit within 45 days, a fine can be assessed by the city. So what is happening now is you're having a hearing, you're going to then pass a resolution, and then I'm going to prepare the assessor's roll so that it can be prepared to be placed on the next tax bill for each individual tax parcel.
Okay,
so with that,
okay, we will open up the public hearing. Anyone in the audience here wishes to speak on this item? No? Okay. We will close the public hearing.
Move approval.
There was a motion by Councilman Sanders and supported by Councilman Gabriel. Any questions or discussion from the council? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
okay, thank you. That actually just, again, we had over 200 of those invoices. It was totaling more than $57,000 that will be coming to the city once these amounts are placed on the tax roll. So. Item 5 is requests. Item 5A is to declare May as Mental Awareness Month in Wayne.
Move approval.
Support.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Who sent us this request?
It was sent to me from an organization dealing with mental health
I appreciate
throughout
that.
the community.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm sorry. It was moved by Councilman Sanders and supported by Councilman Gabriel. Okay. Are any further questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Item 5B is to declare April 27, 2018 as Arbor Day in Wayne.
Move approval.
Support.
It's been moved by Councilman Sanders, supported by Councilman Webster, to declare April 27th as Arbor Day in Wayne. Normally and usually we have a tree planting ceremony planned for that day in one of our parks by students. According to Mr. Queen, that is still going to be happening. We just don't know exactly the time and where. So he will notify us as soon as he has all of that confirmed.
Mayor?
Yes.
It's going to be at Rotary Park too.
Okay, then we'll...
I found out because we're working on some projects with Rotary.
Okay. All right then. Is there any further discussion?
Do we know what time then?
I believe it's 10 o'clock, but let him confirm that.
Yes, he'll confirm that with us. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Item 5C is a request from the Wayne Main Street for a special event permit for Downtown Days, July 12th, 13th, and 14th of 2018.
Move approval.
Support.
It's been moved by Councilman Sanders, supported by Councilman Gabriel. I did see Maxwell here. Do you wish to make any comments?
Good evening, Mayor and members of council.
Good evening.
We have before you a request for our Downtown Days events, and just like the opportunity to let you know that we're holding events in our downtown space on July 12th through the 14th. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay. Are there any questions from members up here? No? Anyone in the audience? No? Okay. And I understand Derby's Alley has been moved to May 22nd for the ribbon cutting?
That's correct.
Okay. Yep. All right. Then. Okay. It was moved by Councilman Sanders, supported by Councilman Gabriel. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Maxwell.
Okay, item 6 is ordinances and amendments. Item 6A is the second reading of ordinance 2018-03, chapter 838, medical marijuana facilities.
Move approval.
Support.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Gabriel, supported by Councilman Sanders. Any discussion?
Madam Mayor, I do
Yes.
have one thing. I just wanted to, I guess, shed light for the residents. As some may or may not know, we received literature after the last meeting, which was very moving for me. It started with an email. It had some concerning language in it, and then it followed up with a letter and other reading materials. And when talking about perception as reality, and again, I have known nothing of anything, but there was a paragraph that said, further, the members of City Council and the city officials to whom we have interacted to date. And that's a quote. That concerned me. So I would hope that if there is or was anything, that it could stop or surface. That way we can make sure that there's no issues for the city. I wanted to at least bring that to light for the residents because, again, that's something that is important, and one of the reasons why I took this office, because we want to make sure everything is operating within the means.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, Mr.
Mayor?
Porter.
I don't speak very often, so it's going to be a little long. Bear with me. It's the reason that I'm going to vote the way I am this evening on the marijuana ordinance. Last meeting, we listened to two councilmen who spoke of perception. Since they supposedly perceived the worst, they stopped the 500-foot limit being placed between medical marijuana provisioning centers. Instead, with their totally wrong supported perception, they extended it to 1,000 feet. Their perception and what they wished others to believe was that staff and the remainder of council had changed the new ordinance to benefit one developer. First and foremost, I can produce an email that I have right here with me that I discussed these distances in November of 2017, long before this developer ever asked about locating in the city. Furthermore, marijuana facilities are the distances. What I discussed was the distances between the marijuana facilities and the distances between the residents, the schools, the churches, and so on in this email. I have, and I still have, I had and I still have full confidence in the ordinance that they wrote. However, it's put it in jeopardy. They put a lottery in place that would completely stop what the councilman is speaking of. I have full confidence in the city clerk of running things. He opens bids, and I'm sure he would be involved in a lottery. So now let's jump ahead to a message I received last week stating that a citizen in the city of Wayne saw a car approaching a private for sale parcel of land. He stopped the car and asked them, Who are you and what are you doing? The gentleman identified himself as a councilman and said he was investigating illegal dumping on the site. The councilman then asked several questions, none of which included illegal dumping, but one which he did ask what the citizen would think about a medical marijuana grow facility going into that vacant land. I did not ask the citizen what he answered, but the citizen did ask the occupants of the vehicle, how much are they asking for this property? The passenger stated $600,000. So let's get this straight in our heads. A councilman who talked about alleged perceptions of improprieties chauffeurs another person who has first-hand knowledge about the for-sale property they are about to drive onto, and a councilman asks questions about maybe the property becoming a medical marijuana grow facility? Let me ask you, what's your perception of that, since we're talking of perceptions? What exactly did the staff, other council members that bothered to suggest to the committee what they were thinking want from medical marijuana? I speak for myself only. I wanted several new buildings built so that we would have a new revenue stream, new property tax coming into our city. That and nothing more. I don't care who develops it. I don't care who builds it. That's what I wanted. But the irrational, political doublespeak of the two council persons has stopped me from voting for anything but an ordinance allowing the 3 existing facilities to continue to do business. Listen closely to the comebacks. We'll spin a web. It'll be everybody's fault but theirs. I sincerely apologize to the Medical Marijuana Committee for your hard work will go to naught if I have my way tonight. Remember, the staff is responsible for nothing other than writing the ordinance and recommending the rough draft of the ordinance to the council. So don't bring the staff into play on this. It's the council's decision, not the staff. They only recommend. I also want to apologize to the citizens of Wayne that we spent your hard-earned tax dollars to operate this committee for nothing. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, gentlemen, in my mind, for me, the major question here is, do we want any more medical marijuana dispensaries on Michigan Avenue, west or east? That's my concern.
Madam Mayor.
Yes.
I guess here's more political doublespeak, I guess, but this is Mr. Councilman Porter suggested that he had sent out emails well in advance, I'm sure he did, in November. Well, I have some important dates. November 7th, the council had a study session with McKenna and Associates. November 11th, Schaefer Development signed an application for site plan review. November 13th, the application for site plan review was received by the city clerk and was stamped. November 14th, meeting of the Planning Commission, where it was approved with 10 contingencies. And December 12th, or December 19th is when it became for the city council. And so when this ordinance went into was being formulated, I'm not suggesting that you didn't have input into, or no one had input as far as the footage or the between one or the other. It was always under my impression when the administration crafted the ordinance that it would be 1,000 feet in between. And let me just instead of going further, let me correct your Derek's statement to you, the resident that happened to live on Van Born. I was taking somebody, a friend of mine, has nothing to do with medical marijuana, nothing. And how I know what the amount of the property was, because he asked, and I asked, because there was illegal dumping, because the resident had called me 2 residents, one on Treadwell and one on Bendix, where I live, because that house butts up to my property. And when I saw him coming out of his backyard by his pool, I stopped.
I am calling a point of order here.
Well,
I want
he's
to
disparaging, and so I
I'm
have a right
sorry,
to
there is
correct.
enough disparaging going on in this council to last us a whole year sitting up here. We need to move forward with this ordinance now. It is an important ordinance. Everybody has talked about it, ripped it apart, put it back together again. We had a committee who worked very hard on this. We have to move forward on this, and I am tired of having all of this he said, she said, back and forth. I really am. It is not helping the city doing the city's business. You have your opinions, and you can vote however you choose to. But right now, I think the ordinance presented in front of us for 1,000 feet, I will ask the city clerk, is there any place else in the zoned area within 1,000 feet that another provisionary center could go?
Yes, after the last meeting, I did meet with the engineering department. We did do some measurements to look at other places around the community. There are some other locations. Are they developable? Are they owned by people that may not be interested in selling? Possibly, but there are some spaces left, and it could work at a couple other locations throughout the community.
Okay, all right, thank you. At this time, I will ask for a roll call vote.
Well, are there any questions we have to?
Yes. Yes.
Osborne, your ordinance that was read last city council meeting, this is the second reading of it. Would you have the privilege of reading what you finally decided on? Because we did hear at least good 15 minutes colloquy between all of you. What's 500 feet? I believed 1,000 feet, and I think the last one was Mr. Gabriel. It was suggested that most of our ordinance are 1,000 feet, and why you people decide to change it to 500 is questionable. And Mr. Porter, you didn't say too much about that at that given time. So, due to your due diligence on in the year of the 17th, this medical marijuana committee has been going around for a while. And don't spin this thing that it's costing us money. It's something very important to us. And if you'd had all your cards in places and all the information that's usually required from a planning commission to a setting commission and our charter beforehand, you wouldn't end up with so many meetings, and so you can cry that it's costing us money. We come here because it's costing us money and time, Mr. Porter, and you get at least paid a little piece of pie. We don't get paid anything but to see the quickness of you making a ruling and slamming down that gavel. And I'm sick and tired of you banging down this gavel without you, the people out there, seeing it's supposed to be transparent. Why do people have to go to FOIAs, read this, read that? You can be.
Thank you, Mr. Osborne.
I didn't finish. He decided to run a clock on me again, so I'm not finished. So, like I said, with all the information together, it's bad to see you all squabbling on there. But once again, this is now to its second reading, but it's the second reading of an amendment of an amendment. You all know that was there because you couldn't come together. So tonight's the night, and I would appreciate it if you would read what you finally decide, at least the main paragraph that you decided. Because remember, it was the end of that meeting that you decided finally. He withdrew his amendment and his resolution to go forward. So I wish the clerk, on behalf of you, Mr. Mayor, would read exactly what you finally decided on last meeting.
Will the attorney read what we decided upon
Well,
at the last
I don't think it's
meeting?
necessarily appropriate to read it, but merely to summarize the main points of the ordinance itself. So the way the ordinance is written today, and this is a second reading of the ordinance, is that the city would permit a total of 8 medical marijuana facility licenses, 4 of those being provisioning centers exclusively, and the other 4 being facilities of any other type. So the other 4 types that are permitted under the state law. With regard to the spacing requirements, all 5 of those facilities, provisioning centers and the other 4, have to be 1,000 feet away from a school, church, public park, or residence, no matter what, all 5 of them. With regard to provisioning centers, there is also, and only with regard to provisioning centers, a concentration requirement. And what that does is say that provisioning centers must be, and this is what we've heard the back and forth about, but the decision at the last council meeting and the way that it's presented today in the second reading is that provisioning centers have to be 1,000 feet away from each other also. Regarding the other 4 types of facilities, there is no concentration requirement, only with regard to the provisioning centers.
Okay.
And it also says that the other 4 types of facilities, not provisioning centers, have to be in certain types of industrial districts. And the provisioning centers do not have the requirement of having to be in that industrial district. However, by virtue of having the 1,000-foot concentration requirement, it keeps them still away from residences, public parks, schools, things of that nature.
Okay. Thank you very much. Is there any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Guys, as you know, I'm the owner of Holistic Health Wayne. I just want to make a comment.
Could I please have your name and address?
Yes, Samantha Bevins. I live on 301 Stephanie Drive, and I'm the owner of Holistic Health Wayne. I just want to make a comment to you guys. I have been to so many council meetings, and I'm insulted. I am emotional right now. I came to your guys' city when no one else did. I'm the first one that got a dispensary. I'm the one that has never turned any patients away in your city that had cancer or didn't have money. I'm the reason all these people want to bring money to your city. And for you guys not to give us, I hope you guys understand, moving forward as a dispensary, we have a lot of rules. We need to have a grow. We need to have these things. Me and the other dispensary owners in this city have took over $10 million and went into other cities to invest that. Because you guys were not willing to work with us and help us out. To have a dispensary, you have to have a lab and a grow. Why am I forced, and why don't we get the first option to do this? I came to your city first. I followed the rules first. I paved the way. I helped every single person in this city. I have done everything by the books. I have hate from every single one of you the first time I came in here. And I still am standing here today, and I am built my name up. And you know that 5 other cities have come and toured my facility, and they have said they are writing their ordinance based on that. I have cities that have came to me and told me, I will give you the only license we have. Your facility is the only one that ran right. So instead of doing a lottery and all these things, why don't you guys care who's taking care of your patients? Care. You want these big companies because they have a lot of money? Are they going to care about your citizens? I'm from Wayne Westland. I grew up here. I care about every single person. I don't know one med shop in the entire state that has ever gave a patient that had cancer free medication every single time without a question. And I just want you guys to appreciate that and respect that and stop making us come here and stop making us fight. We love the city of Wayne. We come here. We help. We invest. We do everything. Give us a chance. Don't let these big companies do it. We're here. We came first. The reason they're coming is because of me. Give us a chance. That's all I'm asking.
Thank you. Yes.
Jeff Wild, Newburgh. How you guys doing tonight?
Fine. How are you?
Been gone for a little while. I'm catching up on this marijuana thing. One of my concerns is that we talk about 1,000 feet or 500 feet and which one's best for us. The reality is come November, 4 of you probably will not be here, and the next council will be asked for a variance to make it 500 for whatever developer comes in here. So why don't we just plan in the future and make it easier to do business in the city and just go with 500 so they don't have to come and look for a variance. We're here with inviting arms. Other cities are already doing it. Why are we trying to make it tougher? Okay, if 8's the magic number and we're going to choose who the winners and losers are, does it matter if they're within 500 or 1,000 feet from each other? Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, will the clerk call the roll, please?
Yes. This is item 6A, and this is a motion by Gabriel, seconded by Sanders, for the second reading of ordinance number 2018-03. The first to vote is Mayor Pro Tem Miller.
Yes.
Councilman Racy.
No.
Councilman Porter.
No.
Councilman Sanders.
Yes.
Councilman Gabriel.
Yes.
Councilman Webster.
No.
Mayor Rowe.
Yes.
Right. The motion does pass with a 4-3 vote.
Thank you.
The next item is item 6B. This is the second reading of ordinance 2018-04. This is the repeal of our existing ordinance that will be replaced by the ordinance approved.
Move approval.
Support.
It's been moved by Councilman Sanders, supported by Mayor Pro Tem. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay. The next item is item 7, communications and reports. Item 7A is a memo from the Finance Director regarding the 2018-19 budget. And I just wanted to let you know I did put this at your place. It was finalized today, and it's at your places today in requirements of the charter.
Okay. All right, the council has it. We will have it for our public hearing and future discussion.
Yes. Okay. Then the next item is item 7B. This is a memo from the Finance Director regarding extended hours and payment options.
The City Manager, would you please read the memo? Still going through all these papers, I'm sorry. I'll make my way through it.
Sorry, Mayor. Thank you. This is from Katie Sample, our finance director. She had sent it to me with regards to City of Wayne payment hours because there were questions about possibly extending city hours at some point, a couple nights a week or a couple nights a month. It states, a City of Wayne has a drop box outside of City Hall that is available 24/7, and it is checked first thing in the morning for any payments. Payments can also be mailed to the City of Wayne. The Finance Department opens mail payments daily. In addition, they accept online payments on the City of Wayne website, and that is also available 24/7. Lastly, we have a free automatic bill pay option for water bills. There are many options for making payments, even for those who cannot come in during office hours. So basically, when the question was asked, Katie just wanted to make sure that the council understood all of the options that people have if they cannot make it here during business hours, because we do realize that we are limited. And, you know, certainly we'd like to be open 5 days a week and like to be open later, but with the 28-hour limit with the Affordable Care Act, unfortunately the federal law doesn't, you know, prohibits us from being able to do some of those things. So basically, that's what's in here. And what we're doing right now is we're working with the Finance Department to put this information out so it's readily available for those who need these options and are not aware of them.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
Very much.
You're welcome.
The next item is item 7C. This is the March 31st, 2018 Revenue and Expenditure Report.
Could I have a motion from the left side of the council table, please?
There, a motion's not
received
required.
and file.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And then item 7D is a communication from the Wayne Main Street about the downtown cleanup, which is coming up on April 21st, 2018, and then the Chocolate Walk, which is May 12th, 2018.
Okay. Maxwell?
Good evening, Mayor and members of council. Once again, I'm Maxwell Cameron. I'm the Executive Director of Wayne Main Street. I wanted to share two really exciting events that we have coming up with you. The first one is our downtown cleanup happening this Saturday from 9 to noon, and we'll be doing our registration and kickoff at the 29th District Court parking lot. I'm also pleased to let you know that Professional Insurance Associates, as well as Tubby's and the Coffee Beanery, have stepped up and will be providing our refreshments for our volunteers. We're going to have t-shirts available as well. And I'm really proud to let you know tonight that so far we have 120 volunteers registered for our cleanup. Wonderful. So at this point we're about 40 volunteers ahead of where we were last year. So we're hoping for a really good turnout, and let's hope that the weather holds up because we've had some difficulties this week. We also are really pleased to let you know that our volunteers from Ford will be joining us for a cleanup in May on May the 17th. So we'll leave a portion of our downtown area near Jack Demmer and the plant for them to focus on. But we're really pleased to have them join us as well. It just because of what is happening with the plant right now, they couldn't participate in our weekend. The other really great event I wanted to share with you, of course, is our 3rd annual Downtown Wayne Chocolate Walk. The last 2 years, this has been an amazing sold-out event. So we once again increased the number of tickets available. Right now, versus last year, we're about 2 times where we were in our ticket sales. So tickets are going real fast. The event itself will take place on Mother's Day weekend, May the 12th, from 10 to 4 in downtown Wayne here. Participants will be able to pick up their box from the Wayne Historical Museum, and there'll be 12 stops around Wayne that they'll be able to pick up an individual piece of chocolate. And we have Cordon's Chocolates once again helping us out with this event, so you get some really delicious chocolates and get to check out all of our amazing and unique stores here in Wayne. The only other piece of news I did want to bring to your attention, and Mayor Rowe, thank you for bringing it up a little bit earlier. Unfortunately, due to weather, we are going to be postponing our opening for Derby's Alley. You should have all received an invitation, and we would love you to attend our rescheduled opening, which is going to take place on Tuesday, May the 22nd at 3 p.m. The weather just wasn't cooperating with us this week, and hopefully in a month it will be a little sunnier out. So I thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you. Just a reminder to all the residents, please, Saturday, come on down to downtown Wayne and help clean it up and make it beautiful for whenever spring shows up. Okay? Thank you.
Item 7E is a communication from the police chief regarding a medication take-back event.
Good evening, Mayor and members of City Council.
Good evening.
This is for informational purposes. On Saturday, April 28th, between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m., the Wayne Police Department, along with Beaumont Hospital Wayne, will be holding a medication take-back event. This event will allow residents to safely dispose of any unwanted medications. I do have a flyer that I put in the informational flyer slots in the lobby. If anybody has any questions about it, they can feel free to contact the Wayne Police Department as well.
Thank you. Chief, I do have one question.
Yes.
It says to bring all unwanted medications,
yes,
and it does list what you can't bring.
Yes.
Should people just empty the bottles into a Ziploc bag and bring them that way, or do you want them in the prescription bottles?
They can do that. They can bring the prescription bottles as well, however they want to bring them. The best way to do it is to bring the pills in a bag.
In a bag, okay.
Yes.
And also, what if someone is not available to come that specific time and date? Can they drop?
That is the only one that we're having as of
Okay.
this time. If somebody can't make it, I can try to look for alternatives
Okay.
in another
All right, then.
department or
Okay. Thank you very
Yep.
much. Appreciate it.
between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. on the 28th. Yep.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Item 8 is general items for consideration. Item 8A is to approve calling a public hearing for Tuesday, May 15th, 2018 at 8 p.m. to consider the proposed fiscal year 2018-19 budget and millage rates.
Could I have a motion, please?
Move approval.
John? Jeremiah, did you?
Yes.
It's been moved by Councilman Webster, supported by?
Support. I supported it.
It's been moved by Councilman Webster, supported by Councilman Racy. Any discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And then the next item is item 9, administration reports.
Any reports?
Yes, just two, Mayor. Thank you. Just last week, the last meeting, we had a question from a resident about the parking garage being open 24/7. I think there was a little confusion. The parking garage, we were talking about surveillance 24/7. The parking garage right now is open during the day, and then it closes during library hours at night. So when the library is not open late, the garage is closed, but it is not open 24/7. Just wanted to clarify that. And then just for council, I know I've been firing off a lot of emails to you about the budget session. As I promised, I did send you a couple of items. The staff requests, certainly, and then with some numbers behind that. As you recall, some of the staff had asked for extra staffing and equipment and things like that. But please send me anything I may have missed. I mean, I tried to get it all. And then the other one was the council questions. We did our best, Mayor. I did get yours. I'll get clarification on that with regards to buildings and engineering. But also your council questions, too. If there was something I missed, by all means, send that to me as well. So I just wanted to make sure you knew those were in your emails. Okay, that'll conclude my report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and then the next item are citizens' comments or requests on items not on the agenda. Citizens are to limit their comments or requests to 3 minutes. The City Council asks that if you do have a question or a concern, to bring it to the attention of the appropriate departments whenever possible. If you feel that the matter has not been resolved satisfactorily, you are encouraged to bring it to the attention of the City Manager. And if still not resolved satisfactorily, to the Mayor and the City Council. The Mayor, the City Council, and the department heads may not respond to the questions at the meeting, but will respond by the next City Council meeting or as soon as possible once they've looked into the matter.
Thank you. Do we have any comments from citizens? Could you please step to the microphone and give us your name and your address?
Good evening. First, I'd like to say
Could I please have your name?
Pursuant to the Open Meetings Act, pass. Mayor, Council, first of all, I would like to say as a member of UAW Local 900 chaplaincy program, I would like to thank you and Council for taking a moment of silence for my union brother, Tom, and I, our union brother, Lloyd Allen, and a distinguished gentleman of this community. I know all his union brothers and sisters appreciate it. People in the community appreciate it. Secondly, I would like to properly address the chair. So I've been accused of not doing that correctly in the past. To properly address, go through the chair to the city manager, if I may. Ordinance Officer Brandon Braun has been very, his performance has been very exemplary, assisting with the, I think we're in the 107th day of January now. It's like Groundhog Day playing over and over again. But Officer Braun has been very helpful with the rodent problem that's popping up again, because we know spring's about and all critters are having all sorts of babies and stuff. And I know, just bring a little levity tonight because I know tensions are high. There was a thing on Facebook that said Puxatawny Phil was killed by a self-inflicted gunshot due to his miscalculation of an early spring. So I just want to bring to your attention and council's attention the great work that Ordinance Officer Brandon Braun's doing, because I'm being very vigilant in my area, because, as you know, I quit counting after 250 rats. I'm done buying traps. I tell the neighbors, and the ordinance officers are always getting a bad rap. He's just doing his job. He's a nice guy. He doesn't want to, he's not aggressive when he approaches a resident. He just says, hey, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but there's a problem existing. And he does give him some leeway until he has to start enforcing, really like coming down. So I just want to say to the city manager, if you could, he didn't solicit nor did I offer, but if you could give him some accolades for, he's one of the unsung heroes. So thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Hello, how y'all doing tonight?
Okay, your name and address.
Judy Pullins. I live in Newberry Square Apartments. I just have one question. Are we going to have the concerts in the parks this summer?
Yes, we will have those again.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Judy. Anyone else? Yes.
Hi again. Still Jeff, still on Newburgh. As I watched the meeting last week, I saw there was a presentation for Officer of the Year award. And an award was given by a county commissioner, by a state representative, and from our police chief. Sometime early last week, maybe the week before, there was a councilman that made a post on his Facebook page that that implied that somehow that our younger officers of 5 years or less, as our department ages, that those young officers wouldn't be capable of holding the mantle. And I just wanted to point out that that gentleman last week was a 5-year officer, I think. He's Officer of the Year, got 3 awards, and you guys all gave it to him and standing ovation. I think our guys are on an accelerated learning curve, and we're in capable hands. If that's the kind of officer that's being groomed in Wayne, we're looking pretty good. Thanks.
Thank you. I couldn't agree more with you. Thank you. Yes?
Good evening. Tony Beaver. I live on Berry Street. This is a concern, or not a concern. I've got a question. Maybe you guys can bring it up. It has to do with the extended hours. The police department records section of the police department closes at 2 o'clock, and you can't get anything done past 2:45. I don't get home until 5:30. I need some paperwork from the police department, and I can't get it. Is there any way we can get 1 day a week, 2 days a month, where they can stagger their hours? Just a thought, because a lot of us work, and we cannot get there before 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Mr. Beaver, if you could maybe talk to the police chief out in the hallway, maybe he could figure something out for you.
Good afternoon. Bernadette John Hicks. I have a question. Last council meeting, a councilman wanted an accurate report from the DDA, how they spend their money. Why is that not required of every board and commission then? Library, Historical Society, and everywhere else. Why is it nitpicked just DDA? Secondly, I feel that transparency is very big, that we need that. And we as taxpayers need to know if our employees in this city feel frightened, their job is unsecure. That is ridiculous to send that out to residents saying that our employees feel like their job is insecure. And if that's the case, I want those employees that were labeled in that mailing to stand up and say it and let us fight for them. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes.
Hello, Kim White Jenkins, Elm Street. I did bring this topic up to Building Services. I wanted to also bring it up in front of council. It has to do with the purchase of my home in January and some information that I discovered about the prior homeowner and our neighbor next door that I thought would be interesting to the council. I think there's some money being left on the table in terms of rental properties not being registered as rentals, and also no certificates of occupancy related to those rentals. The home that I purchased was not registered as a rental. The renters had no certificate of occupancy. Therefore, they had no leverage to take issues to the owner of their property. Because there was no C of O, they couldn't go to Building Services, they couldn't come to the city The home next to us was recently vacated. That home also, I went to building services to check on this, was not registered as a rental, and there was no rental certificate of occupancy. And building services said they were grateful for me reporting that, but it seems, and they said they don't have the resources to police the rest of the properties. And my question is, or something to investigate would be, wouldn't it be easy enough to run a report of all the 0% homestead properties, cross-check that against whether there is rental registration, and if not, through a letter, and I know it would be difficult, go up to the homes, find out who's living in those properties, because we could maybe be paying for another inspector if we had these rental properties registered and certified for occupancy.
Thank you, Ms. Jenkins. Anyone else? Yes.
Kathy Rockwell, Wayne. The last meeting on the 2nd or 3rd, I'm not sure what date it was right now, I attended, and I was very upset, angry, and disappointed in some of our council people. You are our mayor, and I think you ought to be able to control these 6 other people. Some council people had the floor, you give it to them. Other councilmen spoke out. You didn't shut them down. That happened 3 times. And I think that's really disrespectful to the citizens. And you did handle the meeting better tonight, which I appreciate. And also, I'd like to thank our city clerk, Matt. I don't know how he took minute meetings that night. I was a registered court reporter, and I take pretty good minutes. But if this vote was rescinded, that one was rescinded. One councilman voted no when he thought he was voting yes. And I just think you need to take better control. And we have gotten phone calls from citizens that are out of town. I don't know that gimmick where you can watch the city council on the phone or internet or something. They say, boy, are you a laughing bunch of nuts you got on your city council. That's embarrassing. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rockwell. Anyone else? Okay, move the agenda.
Is item 10 items for the next agenda?
Are there any items for the next agenda? Move the agenda.
Okay. Is item 11. This is the consent calendar. There are 2 items before you.
Wish of council.
Move that exception.
It's been moved by Councilman Sanders. Is there support?
Support.
Thank you, Mr. Porter. It's been moved by Councilman Sanders, supported by Councilman Porter. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. So the next is comments from members of the City Council.
Councilman Racy.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple things. Had a chance to go to Hype's 17th birthday last week on Friday. They did a great job. I'd been to their, I think it was their 15th birthday party, and they blew this one out even more. It was really, really well done. A lot of positive things that they're doing. I encourage people to go out to see what their Dearborn facility looks like, because that's what they'd like to have happen in Wayne. What's happening in Dearborn, if we could have that happen in Wayne, it would be just tremendous. Also got to earlier today go to a I'm trying to think what you call it. The developer gave a new resident their keys today to their house. P.D. Danik, one of the developers that has been buying purchased homes, is the first home that he was able to turn over in Wayne since we did that. He's with us, and did a great job seeing these houses being put back into the community as and having actual homeowners, and watching our property values go up in that area. Very, very positive. Instead of having renters, we're able to bring in people buying homes, and that's just a great asset to the community. And I also want to mention, I mentioned at the budget session, there's a gentleman that their wife works at our library, and happened to be going to Rotary a couple weeks ago, and noticed that he was out there, had a broom, and he was just out there sweeping and cleaning up stuff. And it made a big difference just in that little plaza doing something, and I really appreciated that. And then asked the staff to, mention that's great. If people have time, contact the library, see if they have any things like that they could use, sweeping out there, picking up things, or other places in town. Every little bit helps, trying to make the city look better. It does make a difference, and everybody's time is appreciated, and whatever you can do to make Wayne better. Thanks.
Councilman Sanders?
I would like to thank the administration for cleaning up, or instructing someone to clean up the lot over on the corner of Phyllis and Wayne Road. I'm not sure who did that, but it's the residents in the area are like ecstatic. They're saying that the junk is rapidly, they're saying it might be because of the trash dumpster of the business over there, the liquor store. If we can ask ordinance to go over there and check. Nothing more.
Thank you. Councilman Webster?
Just one thing tonight. Compost pickup was scheduled to start on the 15th of April, so anyone that is going to start putting out, you can start putting it out now. That's it.
Thank you. Councilman Gabriel?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Nothing tonight.
Thank you. Councilman Porter?
Thank you, Mayor. Congratulations again to all of the distinguished young women. Job well done. We should all be proud of them. Try and come to the cleanup if you can downtown on Saturday, and if you can't, take a bag over to your local park or police your neighborhood or something. There's more than enough garbage and trash out there for us all to pick up. I saw Mr. Clearman and a couple other people have stepped up and cleaned up some of the parks. I won't mention what all he picked up. We'll leave that go. But please help out a little bit. Take a bag if you're going for a walk. If you're walking your dog, take an extra bag along and pick up some of the trash. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. I as well want to congratulate all the women at the Distinguished Young Women's Award. I went to it that evening. It was a fantastic program. I also want to reiterate a police meeting that's occurring April 25th at 7 o'clock. I want you to take that opportunity to get to understand more and more about what is going on with our law enforcement in this city. And I think that's a great time. They're more than welcome to all your questions, your concerns, and get a better understanding, as this is part of our budget as well. And lastly, I'm hearing a resounding consensus here about our pride in this community, and that's about the cleanup this weekend. And it's also Earth Day weekend as well. And I think it's great to hear these things because, it's our community, it's our neighborhoods, and we take pride in it. And I really appreciate living in the community that I am joined with others that feel the same way. So come out, look forward to seeing you this Saturday. And that's it for me, Mayor.
Thank you.
Mayor Rowe, I just wanted to clarify that the police meeting, I believe, is on the 26th.
I'm sorry, thank you.
Okay, yep, just so people know. And I think it's on the police billboard, or on the sign, correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Last Friday, I attended the Conference of Western Wayne, as I have since I've been here, except for 2 meetings. Out of it, Wayne County is showing the smallest population decline for recent years. The largest county, home to Detroit, has only lost 3,000 residents as of July of 2017. So that's a huge plus for our county. Also, unemployment rate was 5.4% in 2017 compared to 16.2% in 2009. So that's a huge, huge improvement for us. We're going to be seeing a small increase in our state 9/11 fee payments for the remainder of 2018. And we have also found out that the PSAPs, which is the area that does the dispatching for us, some of those systems are going to need to be upgraded because of the new 9/11 enhanced service that's to be put forth. So we will be discussing any type of changes to the equipment at Westland, which is where our dispatch is handled through, and they handle Inksters as well as Dearborn Heights. Also, let's see, one other thing. As far as legislative items go, The Community Development Block Grant has increased from $3 billion to $3.3 billion. Tiger grants increased by $1 billion. Clean water and drinking water state revolving loan funds have increased by $300 million each. State and local law enforcement grants have been increased by $1.2 billion, and state opioid response grants have $1 billion in new funding. This is all from the federal government budget that President Trump has signed off on. At the local level, the state budget is still a work in progress. Hopefully that'll be through in the next month. And the House version of the general government budget keeps statutory revenue sharing at current levels and restores $3.1 million of the governor's proposed $6.2 million cut to supplemental funding. The chair of the committee stated that the $3.1 million restoration of payment is meant to be a talking point going forward, and said the final chapter has not been written with respect to local government. Also, there is a bill that's right now in the Senate, and it has been introduced it's a utility fee bill, and it should have a hearing in the Senate Natural Resource Committee soon. It would be allowing local municipalities to create a stormwater utility fee for use of stormwater systems that are owned and operated by the local unit of government. Let's see, the other one is there is supposed to be an excess 9/11 funds, and there has been a bill introduced by Senator Kasperson. It's Senate Bill 930, which allows 9/11 funds to be used to install and maintain road name and address signs.
3-minute mark.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm going to go on because this is a report, not just my talking. The Western Wayne area spends millions of local government fund dollars to cover underfunded 9/11 services. So excess other areas could be used to cover these underfunded areas. And that's my report from the Conference of Western Wayne. A motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
It's been moved by Councilman Racy, supported by Councilman Webster. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.